Drawing and Painting, Anime and Manga Faces, Step-by-Step Techniques for Creating Authentic Characters and Expressions, by Nao Yazawa. Contents: Introduction, Drawing and Coloring Essentials, Basic Terms, Drawing a Face, Front View, Profile View, Three-Quarter View, Face Variations, Eye Variations, How to Draw Hair, Proportions for Heads and Figures, Creating a Chibi, From Sketch to Color, Step by Step, Anime and Manga Characters, Faces, Expressions and Chibis. Innocent Girl, Clumsy Girl, Dejiko, Clever Girl, Megenkeo, Cool Girl, Tsundere, Delinquent Girl, Yankee, Passionate Boy, Neketsu, Clever Boy, Megenkuen, Cool Boy, Playboy, Charo, Delinquent Boy, Yankee, Beautiful Boy, Bishinin, Beautiful Girl, Bishujo, Magical Girl, Mahou Shoujo, Magical Girl on the Dark Side, Yamioki, Magical Girl's Male Enemy, Magical Girl's Female Enemy, Male Vampire, Female Vampire, Samurai, Ronin, Japanese Princess, Male Warrior, Female Warrior, Animal Girl, Kemonami, Salaryman, Office Lady. About the author, Index. Introduction. Welcome, anime and manga fans. If you've always wanted to create your own manga characters, this book is for you. Learn the basic terms for drawing manga, how to draw faces in front, profile, and three-quarter views, the different types of eyes and hair, and proportions for both standard characters and their chibis. Follow the creative process from rough sketch to finish and discover how to take your drawings to the next level by adding striking definition, stunning color, and special touches that will make all your characters feel exciting and authentic. Learn to draw the faces and expressions of 25 classic characters from a variety of manga and anime genres, from romance to action to vampires. Find detailed guidance on how to draw the shape of each character's face, their features and hair, and outfits they would typically wear, all to enhance their personalities. Learn to depict expressions for each character that reflect a range of dramatic situations for exciting storytelling. For extra fun and cuteness, you'll also learn how to draw the chibi version of each character. Once you've drawn all the characters and their chibis, I hope you use what you've learned to create your own characters and to tell your own exciting stories. Drawing and Coloring Essentials. Basic Terms. Atari, rough sketches or guidelines to set the rough position, shapes, and balance of the composition. This includes characters, backgrounds, effect lines, and handwriting. Penire/pen inking, to go over the pencil drawing in ink. Beta/beta inking, solid black with brush pens or pens. IRI, the starting point of the stroke on penire or beta. This is only for brushed pens and dip pens. Don't use this technique with carbon fiber pens or markers. Nuki, the end point of the stroke on penire or beta. Draw it by pulling the tension away from the tip of the pen to make it look like it's disappearing normally. Teri beta/Tsuyo beta, an effect to make the part look shiny as if light shines on it by adjusting the Nuki and IRI. This technique is mainly used for black hair. Haweto, white to erase wrong lines, ink smudges with white ink or correction fluid. It's used for lights and highlights. Kakiyami, pen hatching, to express half tones with pens. Kakemoji, SFX onomatopoeia designed by hand drawing. It's an important factor in manga to describe the atmosphere and situations as well as the sounds. Fukidashi, conversation/word bubble. There are several sizes or shapes depending on the volume of the voice or the way it's said. Manpu, symbols or icons that help express emotions in manga such as sweat beads or lines. Kukusen, lines to show effects. There are several types. Sayusiusen, lines that gather toward the center. Dusen/ryusen, lines that emphasize the character's speed or movement. They can also show inner emotions. Tone/screen tone. Screen tones are a sheet of adhesive paper with different patterns. You can cut it with knife after applying. The surface can be scraped off with a knife and has different effects. Gray tones are called ami and patterns, such as a checkered pattern, are called gara. Ami tone. Gara tone. Due to printing costs and speed, manga manuscripts are generally black and white in Japan. Artists use tones with small dots to express gray areas in place of gray ink and pencils. Currently, technological advances allow the use of gray, but traditionally the color is expressed in tones. Drawing a face. Front view. Basic Atari for faces. Cut a circle, a skull, in half both horizontally and vertically with a line on the bottom of the circle. Determine the contour of the face from the Atari. Since the face is oval, it narrows from the temple toward the jaw joint, gonial angle. Note that the face becomes sharper the narrower you make it. Even with a hairstyle that covers the face, draw a hairline and check the size of the forehead and the position of the hairline. Align the upper part of the eye and the upper part of the ear with the 1/3 line. The center of the eyes and the center of the ear are almost at the same position. The space between the eyes is about 1/2 to 1 eye width apart. The wider the space, the cuter and younger the person looks. It's better not to leave a space larger than 1 eye length. The position of the mouth is the same height as the line of the jawbone. Determine the position of the nose by measuring from it. Draw the hair in consideration of the hairline direction and correct straight facial lines of the Atari to make it girlish, and it's done. Profile view. Place the ears. Draw them closer to the center line and the center of the contour facing front. Some people draw them on the center line exactly. Draw Atari on the front part of the face. Draw the line almost vertically downward and stop at the chin position. Draw a line downward from under the ear, stop at the position of the jawbone, and then connect it with the tip of the jaw to complete the facial contour. Draw Atari at the position of the eyes, nose, and mouth. If you feel it's out of balance, correct it by checking the position when facing forward. Note that if the positions and sizes of the parts are different, they won't look like the same character. Draw facial parts along the Atari and adjust the contour by paying attention to irregularities such as the forehead, between the eyes and the chin. An eye looks like a triangle from the side. Notice that the eyes are in eye sockets and the eyebrows are above the brow bones. So from a side view, the eyes should be further right than the eyebrows. The eyes are attached to the front of the face. Make sure not to draw them on the side of the face. 3/4 view of the face. Facing left side. It might be easier for a left-handed person to start practicing from the one facing the right side. Decide the position of the ear based on the Atari. It'll be between the ear on the face facing front and one with the face facing to the side. The position differs depending on the angle. Draw a vertical line from the bottom of the ear as you did for the side view, and change the angle at the jawline to connect it to the line at the tip of the jaw. The position differs depending on the angle. Draw a vertical line from A, the starting point of the face, to B, the position of the cheekbone, and connect it to the tip of the jaw to complete the Atari face line. Draw Atari for the center of the face from the tip of the jaw. Make sure to draw it straight, similar to the line at the cross-section of the face. Decide the position of the eyes, nose, and mouth. Make sure not to draw the eyes on the side of the face. Make the eye closer to you wider, and the other one oval-shaped with a shorter width. Make sure that the ratio is the same as the difference of the width of the both sides of the face. The same goes for the mouth. Draw the part closer to you longer than the other side. Note the difference of the width, center line, and side part. Draw the parts of the face along the Atari in the same way as the side view and draw the face line considering the bone structure of the forehead, brow bones, eyeballs, cheekbones, and jaw. Face variations. There are different face shapes and proportions, depending on age and character type. Age differences. Child. The face line is almost a circle because the facial features are underdeveloped and small. Rounder cheeks make the face cuter and more childish. The nose is small without a nose line. Teenager. The jaw becomes more defined, making the face longer. The forehead is flatter. The orbits and cheekbones are clearer. The nose should still be small even though the nose line is visible. Adult. The jaw is developed completely, and the jawline is stronger. The cheekbones are clearer, and the face line becomes straighter. The neck is thicker, and the line on the back of the head is almost straight. The eyes become smaller and almond-shaped now that the face is fully developed. Shape differences. Oval. Square. The contour of the face is straighter, and the jawbone more square-shaped. It's used for men with strong bodies or trained warriors. Inverted triangle. This shape creates a long face with a small jaw, even though the length of the face is the same as the oval face shape. Use the inverted triangle for sensitive, thoughtful characters. Triangle. A rounded triangle face is shaped similarly to a rice ball. The bottom of the face is wider. While this face shape is similar to a child's, the skull is smaller while the jaw is developed. It's a face for a fat or thick man. Humorous, warm characters typically have this kind of face. Eye variations. Eyes are a key facial feature when it comes to identifying manga genres or authors. Practice them by referring to your favorite style. I'll introduce some variations with a more typical touch. Eyes with huge black irises and a small sclera, the white part of the eye, are normally used for the main character. This eye type conveys cuteness and purity. Enemies often have the opposite, small pupils and large sclera with white between the iris and lower eyelid, to depict their coldness or shrewdness. These are called sanpaku eyes. How to draw hair. Make sure to consider each part of the front, side, and back hair for all hairstyles. The head shape is more visible with heavy, long hair because it's weighed down. It flows straight down along the face. It's the same for wavy hair, but it's more spread out near the bottom because it weighs less. For short hair, it spreads out even more and is more voluminous because it's lighter. Teri beta, an expression of black hair. It's normally expressed with light reflections even though some draw the hair lines with white ink. It's a technique to show the hair flows similar to the lines for blonde hair. Use this technique for wavy hair. The position of the light gathers in one spot for straight hair. Make sure to check the hair flow by drawing the atari. Use a blue pencil lightly when you draw lines of hair or teri beta. It looks like shiny blonde hair if you draw lines like this. Proportions for heads and figures. The proportions differ according to the style, but the ratio of the head to the body changes according to the age. The ratio is 2 to 6.5 to 7, with 2 head lengths for babies and 7 for young adults. In the case of men, 7 or 7.5 head lengths is the general adult body. Make sure to draw them differently according to the age. A child's body shouldn't have a waistline, and adults should have a waistline or developed hip bones. Ratio for chibi style is 2 to 3 heads. You'll need 3 heads to a body ratio for feminine characters with big breasts. Decide your favorite proportion by checking the balance. Creating a chibi. On these 2 pages we look at 2 very different characters, a magical girl, see here, and a male warrior, here, to consider the guidelines and steps for creating a chibi, a character's smaller, cuter version. Magical girl. The hairstyle and the costume are butterfly-inspired. 5.5 heads to a body ratio. It's not difficult to make a chibi out of a cute girl. Simplify the character design and change the eyes to nose ratio to 1 for babies. Make the hair fluffier and it's done. The body is about the size of a head, or 2 with the ratio of 2 to 3 heads to a body. In manga, legs are drawn longer than in real life. However, chibi style has short legs. The ratio of body to legs is 1 to 1 at most. Head to body ratio. The hands and feet are small. The head is big. It will look like it can barely stand on its own. Male warrior. When drawing a warrior, consider where these soldiers or fighters serve, and the kinds of materials they would wear when you design their costumes and armor. 8 heads tall. Head-to-body ratio, 8:1. It might be hard to make chibis out of serious characters, especially tough guys, but the method is the same. Draw the face bigger with fluffier hair and bigger eyes. The head-to-body ratio for a male chibi is the same as for a female one. They're both about 2 to 3 heads high, but the male chibi's shoulders and body are wider and thicker, so he's consistent with the style of the original character. Also, a male chibi's hands and feet are usually larger than a female chibi's, though some artists draw their female chibi's hands and feet somewhat large. Ratio of 2.5 heads to body. From sketch to color, step by step. Use whatever tool you want. A normal pencil and an eraser will do the job. This section will introduce necessary and useful tools to complete a black and white manga manuscript with pen ire. Atari, rough sketches. Mechanical pencil or pencil. Soft pencils such as 2B or B work fine. Use artist quality pencils. I use 0.5 and 1.3 mechanical pencil lead for characters. Pencils are recommended for people who draw hard or place a lot of weight on the pencil. Draw rough sketches lightly. For those who put more weight on pencils, draw lightly to avoid denting the paper, which will make it harder to do pen ire later. Light blue color pencil, or mechanical pencil lead. It will prevent the paper from getting dirty if you use them to draw the Atari. Draw clear lines with pencils after rough sketching. Make sure not to draw too strongly so that you can still erase it. Paper for pen ire. Use paper with a hard and smooth surface. It's better to use Bristol paper, but it can be expensive. It's useful to have manuscript papers for manga. If you can buy them, I recommend them because they're cheaper than Bristol paper. Normal manuscript papers for manga sometimes have useful light blue guidelines to help you. Eraser. Use plastic erasers. Plastic erasers let you erase pencil lines without damaging the surface of the paper. They even leave less eraser shavings. Search for your favorite brands to find an eraser perfect for you. Pencil eraser. Choose plastic erasers for this kind as well. It's useful when you want to erase detailed spots such as the edge of the mouth. Kneaded eraser. This is a soft eraser that changes shape like clay. Pat the drawing with it when you want to clarify which line to use. It lightly erases the other lines without erasing them completely. You can do the same with plastic erasers. You might want to dedicate an eraser to this purpose because it'll turn black over time from the lead. Ruler. You don't need it for drawing faces, but it's useful for drawing the Atari lines neatly. It also helps you check the position of the eyes and nose. Pen ire. The main pens used for manga are the 3 types listed below. However, there are many other kinds. They're used with pen holders. These pens are necessary if you want to draw a smooth line with changes in thickness that are specific to manga. You will need to practice using it though. There's also the danger of smudging or getting fingerprints on the paper. Milli pen or line art pen. Manga pens are typically used for main lines and characters, but some artists use milli pens. Use 3 types, SML, such as 0.1, 0.3, and 0.5, 0.8 for different uses. Use pigmented ink and avoid watercolor or oil color. G pen. The most common pen. The soft tip allows you to change the pressure more easily and achieve sharp lines. It's normally used for characters, effects, and backgrounds. Maru pen. It's used to draw thin and hard lines. It's often used to draw detailed eyes and hair for shoujo manga. Many people use it for effect lines and backgrounds because the nuki is very sharp. Saji pen. A classic pen. It's harder than a G pen and harder to change the pressure, but the tip is less likely to get caught on the paper as it's more rounded compared to other ones. The lines are a little more rounded instead of sharp as with the G pen. Apply more pressure to the tip of the pen to draw thicker lines. Use light pressure to create thinner lines. Change the pen angle if the tip doesn't open as seen in the picture. Ink. Ink is necessary to use manga pens. There are different types of ink, or India ink. I recommend Manga ink or Manga India ink, which you can find in art stores. Use drawing ink if you can't find them. It's black enough, fast drying, and not erasable. Brush pen. These are used for beta inking. There are two common types, sponge and nylon. Nylon brush pens are widely used because it's easier to move the tip and they're good for terry beta. Sponge brush pens are typically easier for beginners to use. Choose pigmented ink for this brush also. You can also draw terry beta with ease. White. White ink or white correcting fluid is used to correct mistakes or draw thin white lines. Choose ones you can draw with a brush or mix bleed-proof ones with water. Prepare a very thin brush. White gel ballpoint pens are useful also. Coloring. Coloring with watercolor. Use transparent watercolor to create different colors. Layer washes or paint strokes to create a variety of colors and hues. Some artists use vivid colored ink for shoujo manga. Dr. Ph. Martin's radiant colors are commonly used. Use it the same way as transparent watercolor. It's a more vivid and clear color compared to the paint material type, but it fades more easily over time. Note that the quality of colored ink varies, depending on the company and type. Some are uneven. Start painting with just a few colors. It's not bad to have a lot, but you can express various colors by layering washes on top of each other with transparent watercolor. Buy additional colors as needed. Don't mix colors on a palette because the more you mix, the muddier and darker the color gets. Brush. I recommend a water brush. In the past, I used paint brushes for Japanese paintings, but now I use this one. You can buy it almost anywhere. It's cheap and the tip is easy to use. The tip is made with nylon, the same kind as brush pens. It's useful to buy 3 sizes, big, medium, and small. It's used for sketching outdoors. It's widely used because it's easy. If possible, try out some different kinds because the tips are different depending on the brand. It's very useful because water comes out when you squeeze it and cleans the tip. Palette. You'll need one of these so you can adjust the intensity of a color by watering it down. White ink/white gel ballpoint pen. Use the same white ink as the one for black and white manuscripts. Make sure to use a bleed-proof type. Prepare a line drawing. Use a manga pen with waterproof ink or a mili pen, line art pen, with pigment for watercoloring. This paper is Japanese VF art fine. There are many kinds of watercolor paper, so try out some. When using a manga pen and waterproof ink, the paper must be fine with a smooth surface. But with a mili pen, don't worry about the surface of the paper so much. Use your favorite type of paper because it won't drastically affect the results. Lightly draw lines with pencils and use minimum erasers so that you don't damage the surface of the paper when you're drafting. Trace the draft to drawing papers using tracing papers or light boxes. Direction of light. Express light and darkness by making shady spots by layering the same color, or a darker color of the same tone, on top of the base skin color. Start painting the skin. It's standard to start with light colors and move to darker colors because you can't correct it using transparent watercolor. Paint with a 3-dimensional effect by spreading the paint after dropping the color that you get on the tip of the brush at the darker parts. Spread the paint to shaded parts such as shady parts of the hair, the eyes, or redder parts on the cheeks. Spread the color in one stroke to avoid uneven washes. The color will get darker and deeper by painting on top of it. Make natural gradation on the borders by painting different colors on top and spread it before the first one dries out. Ochre is used for skin here. Use brown for darker skin, red tone colors such as orange or magenta for white skin. Dip only the tip of the brush in color and make natural gradation by using the brush to spread the color on the paper. You can spread the color with water or dry it out by patting tissues on it when you put too much color. Prevent adding too much color by testing it on another piece of paper beforehand. There's a way to paint with color by undercoating the part you color with water when you use thicker papers. It creates beautiful gradation when the color spreads naturally. Hair. Start painting hair once you finish the skin. Start coloring after checking that the skin has dried. Spread the colors on the paper after you've started coloring the darker parts. The tip is to paint it quickly so it spreads evenly. In this case, paint along the flow of the hair from the root and the tips. Leave the center lighter or white for highlights. Move the brush along the hairline to hide uneven parts. Turn the paper to make it easier to paint. Find the best direction for you as it's different for everyone. The lighter parts look shiny from the reflection of the light by spreading the color toward them. Add color on darker parts little by little while checking the balance of the whole hair. Add the shades and flow of hair once the last part is dry. The base color of this hair is sepia. Draw the flow of hair on top of dark sepia. When you don't draw the flow of hair, it's better to show the difference between brighter parts and darker parts more clearly than in the image on the left. Eyes. Paint the eyes while waiting for the hair to dry. Add some shadows in the sclera, white part of eyes, and the top of eyes. Light blue or light blue-black is normally used. Start painting the iris after the shadows have dried. Put dark color on the shaded part, in the top part, and spread it with a brush. Make sure not to spread the dark part all over the eyes. To make it darker, paint the same color over and over or use a darker color. Paint the iris with dark color and add a color on the pupil. Paint the same color or a darker color over them again to show the dimension. Dark brown is used here. Add the lines in the iris and reflection of light with white, and it's done. Correct mistakes with white such as the color of the eyes. Use the same color for the shadows and the white part of the eyes on the shadows inside the mouth and teeth. Flow of hair. Once the base is dry, draw the flow of hair with a slightly darker color than the base. Start with a light color and slowly darken it by repeatedly painting on top of it. Note that you can't make dark colors light again. Add some accents with the dark color. Make weaker parts of the outlines clear with the darker brown such as face lines, eyes, or eyebrows. Substitute the dark brown for sepia or dark gray if you want. Add highlights on the hair. Add some lines only in the direction where the light shines on top. Imagine the lines clearly by drawing imaginary strokes before adding the highlights with white because you can't undo them. Finish and correction. Use a bleed-proof white with a fine brush or a white gel ballpoint pen. Add highlights to the cheekbones, nose, lips, clavicles, Adam's apple, and so on. The light source is above the character, so the highlights should represent the direction of the light. Erase the part sticking out with white and finish. Use caution when painting as you can't correct colors by painting over it like with acrylic or oil paints. The technique is to start with light colors and repeatedly layer paint over it. Spread the color quickly. Be careful before putting the color on the paper as it doesn't spread nicely otherwise. Coloring with markers. Alcohol markers are normally used for coloring manga. Copic markers are the most famous ones with good quality, but start with cheaper markers if you're a beginner. Choose brush type pen nib. It's easier than watercolor because you don't need to wait for it to dry. However, with alcohol markers make sure to check the color before painting because the color changes after drying. Choose your favorite paper from typical watercolor paper to Bristol paper. The tone or evenness of the color changes a little depending on the paper. You can find papers for Copic also. It's necessary to keep the surface of the paper as smooth as possible. Bristol paper has a smooth surface making it easy to draw lines with pens and it doesn't get damaged easily when erasing. Prepare a line drawing. Draw the line drawing with alcohol-proof ink, a Milli pen, and hard pencils such as 2H. Make sure that the lines don't bleed with markers before starting to paint. There are some inks you can use with alcohol markers, even if they're not labeled as alcohol-proof. So if you already have some ink, you can try them out. You can also use printouts or photocopies of line art for painting because toner is strong against alcohol markers. Alcohol markers use the same technique as watercolor painting. To paint the base color, Undercoat, light color. To paint the basic color. To paint the shadow color, darker color from the same tone. Paint light base skin color. Paint quickly on the part where you want to put the color. This technique is similar to how we spread watercolor from darker parts, between eyes and cheeks. You won't notice the unevenness as it's a very light color. It helps to prevent unevenness of the color that comes on top of it also. Don't cover the whole area, but leave some brighter parts to show the depth of the color and dimension by considering the light source. Make sure not to make it too dark. Shading with Copic markers. Light pink blurred with the blender bottom. Paint the base skin color on top of it. Add the base skin color, basic color. Start with the shadows or darker areas to avoid unevenness. Make sure not to add too much color by checking the whole image. Only color the shadows to make white skin and leave lots of highlights or bright spots. When painting on top, make sure not to rub too much because unevenness is more visible when using dark colors. Accent the darker parts by layering the same tone of paint over them. Parts with darker colors on top of each other. Give some light pink color to the lips and cheeks. Blend it by painting a light color of the same tone or skin color on top of it when needed. Paint lips along the arrows in the picture. Accent the lip roundness by painting the middle of both lips a bright color and fade the color toward the edges of the mouth. Border around the eyelids like drawing eyeliner. It makes the eyes look clearer in the same way as eye makeup. Pink tones are normally used for girls or white-skinned characters, while brown tones are used for boys or dark-skinned characters. Painting the eyes. Add light gray or blue on the top of the white part for shadows. Paint the whole eyes with light base color. The top half, the part equal to the shades on the white parts, will be slightly darker as it has light shade. Paint the edge of the eyes with the color for shadows of the skin or bordered with a slightly darker color. Red tones are often used for girls and brown or gray tones for boys. Add the eye base color. Darken the color around the edges and leave the area from the center to the bottom lighter. Add some lines for the iris by painting the same color on top. Use the tip of the brush to leave parts with light color. Add dark blue for shadows. Put a dark color on the top and bottom of the pupil, leaving one area a light color. Then spread with light colors. The effect will be smoother by using a light color instead of a blender. There's a way to draw the iris with dark blue lines, but it's painted as a cluster here with some lines added with a white pen. To the right is an iris painted with dark blue lines. Painting the hair. Paint the undercoat in the same way as the skin. Use a very light color of the same tone for the hair color. Leave the parts where the light shines on top in the same way as the skin. Paint it with yellow for blonde hair. Use yellow because it's a color that shows less unevenness and is easy for beginners. However, this color makes it harder to show shadows and nuances. Paint the actual hair color on top of the undercoat. Unevenness doesn't look unnatural if you paint along the hair lines. Spread the base color to blend it. Add shadows considering the light source. Add some shadows along the hairline using dark yellow and orange tones. The strongest highlight hits the top of the head, but since the roots of the hair are so dark, use a darker color and blend it. Use gray tones for shadows because it highlights the lights and darks of the hair color. Use a light brown tone if you have it. Add some highlights with white ink just like watercolor paintings. Add highlights easily with a white gel ballpoint pen, since the lines don't need a sharp eye and nookie. Add highlights on the eyebrow line and in the eyes. It's an important part as the impression changes completely depending on it. Add some highlights on the higher parts of the face such as cheekbones, the tip of the nose, and lips, and finish it by correcting the mistakes. Correct the parts sticking out with white ink. Anime et manga characters, faces, expressions et chibis. Innocent girl. A typical heroine archetype, bright, kind, open, and popular. This character type is either average in academics or not very smart. She isn't overly complex, and she's extremely forgiving. Draw the Atari for the hair. Draw the rest of the details after checking the balance of the drawing and composition. After checking the balance, draw the parts of the face. Drawing the white of the eye, the sclera, bigger will make her look energetic and open. Don't make it too big as it makes the eyes sharper, creating a mean girl expression. A big pupil with a small sclera gives an impression of a shy, quiet girl. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. When drawing a female character, make the outline of the face rounded. Be sure the angle of the jawbone isn't too sharp. Pen eye and finish. I drew this character with wing-like hair that flows away from her face, a hairstyle that emphasizes her openness and innocence. A warm hair color also shows her friendliness and warmth. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. The sunflower design on the bag is also a symbol for her virtuous character. Expressions. Self-indulgence. As you can see, this is a drawing of a girl who's happy after eating some dessert. I recommend you draw any expression by imagining the situation and emotion the character is experiencing. A helpful tip to achieve this is to draw the position of the hands and the angle of the face. These details and body movements help you convincingly express the character's happiness. The curvy letters and bubble-like shapes in the background also help convey her emotions. Angry suspicion. By drawing a character who's sizing someone up by staring at them, you can convey suspicion and doubt. This expression is often used when a character is trying to find out another character's true intentions. Frowning is also a sign of distrust. Crossed arms are also used when a character is thinking hard. The background effect helps to represent this suspicious thought process. Crying interrupted. This expression represents the moment that a character who's been crying is caught off guard by another character's actions or words. Almost missing what the other character said, the main character here is left confused and curious while trying to figure it out. The areas of blurred light in a light kakiyami tone, and the down-pointing shape of the background, reflect her sadness and depression. Chibi style. Note the differences in the contour of the faces. This chibi's jaw shape is like the underdeveloped face of a baby. Draw the eyebrows higher, just as you would for a child or a baby. It makes the chibi look cuter. Increase the volume of the hair. Draw the eyes slightly bigger than for the standard character. Increase the iris and pupil sizes to give the illusion that the eyes are even larger, even though they're only slightly bigger. Simplify the costume. Make the outline and contours of the hair simpler than the standard characters. Clumsy girl. Dejiko. The second most common heroine type, this character is typically extremely clumsy, making her more relatable to the audience. It's important for manga and anime characters to have some flaws so the audience can identify and sympathize with them more. Almost nobody hates a bright, positive, cute girl who doesn't give up, even though she's clumsy and makes many mistakes. Atari. Draw the jawline and the neck on the Atari. Draw big eyes that slant downward slightly to create a soft, cute expression that fits clumsy characters. You can also use this eye style for crybabies or negative characters to give them a weak appearance. Develop the Atari by adding the hair and making sure the entire drawing is balanced, including the features. These thick and down-slanted eyebrows give a soft expression that matches the eyes. Typically, thick eyebrows create a strong impression, but by slanting them they convey a softer look. Be careful when drawing the eyebrows. You want to avoid making the character look too strong-willed. The fluffy hairstyle and loose, swirling tendrils show the character's confusion. The pigtails fit her childish, innocent, clumsy character. Add these details to the Atari, and it's done. Pen ire and finish. Draw curly, thick hair, simplified, similar to a chibi's, and add long lower eyelashes. This creates a shy cuteness that reiterates the clumsy character concept. Front view. Profile view. Draw the eyes slanted on the profile view as well. 3/4 view. I chose typical clothes for a clumsy girl, but you can also design clothes that don't give an impression of a clumsy girl to create some contrast. Choose colorful and childish clothing designs that match the hairstyle. Expressions. Joy. To draw a joyful expression, draw the eyes bigger and wider, with the eyebrows raised. Typically in manga and anime, to express wide-open eyes, the whites of the eyes, scaras, become wider and the pupils and irises shrink slightly. But the irises and pupils shouldn't be as small as when you're expressing surprise or anger. For the background, concentrated line work, dots, arranged in a burst are often used to express joy, happiness, and laughter, conveying bright and overflowing energy. Mistrust. Draw the character glowering through a sideways glance and with a furrowed brow. Make the eyes narrower or squinting slightly, and the pupils smaller than normal to further express the suspicious feeling. In manga, big irises suggest positive emotions such as innocence or trust, while small irises indicate negative emotions such as distrust or suspicion. Sadness. This expression represents sadness for many situations or potential problems, such as loneliness, regret, relationship troubles, or fights with friends. Draw the character looking downward with her eyebrows slanting down. Generally, slanted features signify sadness of some kind. This character is looking downward, but she's actually looking within herself. Drooping hair further communicates her sadness. Chibi style. The chibi's face shape and proportions compared with the standard characters. The famous map showing slight sweating typically indicates cold sweat, but it's useful for several circumstances, depending on the context. Mussed-up hair is a comical manpu representation for troubling situations or a pondering expression. A chibi style with the same size hair as the standard character. Note the increased difference in the distance between the eyebrows and eyes for the chibi. It makes her look more childish and cute. Add some volume to the hair to make her head even bigger, even though the standard character's hair is already fluffy. This is almost the maximum head size for chibi style. Clever girl. Megenkeo. Diligent, fair, mature, and open-hearted, the clever girl is typically smart, often a class representative or president. In other cases, she can be bright but also clumsy or a bit of an underdog. She's usually a good fit for the main character's best friend or a supporting character. Atari. Draw a longer face shape to create a more mature look. Draw the eyes slightly smaller than the main characters to express intelligence. Make the pupils and irises big to create a soft, kind, and calm expression. To create a cute expression, hide the forehead with bangs. A version with the forehead visible, which emphasizes her plain expression and diligence. Draw Atari for the hair. Choose a hairstyle that suggests diligence and intelligence. Braids are a good option. The hair should be soft and thick. After adding the facial features, add Atari for glasses. Glasses are an essential accessory for the clever girl. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Pen ire and finish. Choose a hair color that symbolizes the character's intelligence and cool-mindedness. Blue hair is a good fit. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. Be careful when drawing the glasses so they don't look like they're drawn on the face. They should come off the face a bit. The character's outfit and props should reflect her intelligence as well. The teacup decorated with a rose and a book are items that further signify her character's personality. She's wearing modest school uniform socks. Draw Atari with squares to decide the position of the frame before drawing the glasses. The frames should appear above the face line. Expressions. Shy smile. A perplexed smile of a shy character. Draw the eyebrows slanted to express perplexity. This combined with the mantle of cold sweat shows that it isn't a genuine, happy smile. Embarrassment. The character's facial expression changes completely when you don't draw the eyes. Glasses play a huge role in a character's facial expression, and sometimes their personality. There's a classic storyline that revolves around a girl who's perceived as more beautiful once she takes off her glasses. You can't read their emotion without seeing the eyes. That's why omitting the eyes is used to express coldness. But you can have the reader imagine their complex emotion by making that creative choice. Angry protest. This expression isn't strong rage and fury, but rather anger or protestation. In this situation, the character is protesting her teacher's treatment of a classmate. The anger is shown through the soft, concentrated lines on the background and the mantle of sweat. This expression and situation demonstrate her courage and belief in fairness, even though this character type is typically calm. Chibi style. Note the difference of the shape and proportions of the chibi face compared with the standard character. The standard character's face is little longer than a main character's, but it isn't necessary to make the chibi's face longer.
You don't necessarily have to change the volume of the hair, but you can make a chibi character easily by increasing the volume. Draw the eyes bigger for chibi style, as they were slightly small originally. The frames of the glasses are bigger also. Draw the chibi's irises bigger than the standard characters. The pose of a shy girl who loves reading. Keep the outline of the hair simple, but draw the flow of each part, the bangs, the sides, the back, visible at the very top/back of the head, and the braids, separately. Cool girl. Tsundere. A typical cool tsundere with jayap-mo. The term jayap-mo refers to feeling mo, or protective of a character, because of the gap between the character's looks and personality, for example, looking like a gang member on the outside but being very gentle on the inside. The tsundere character type gives off a cold exterior at first, but is actually very shy and girly on the inside. She's often mean or hostile to the people she likes. Sometimes she shifts from her cold, hostile side to a warmer, friendlier side, but not always. She's typically smart, cool, mature, and beautiful. Atari. This mature look is similar to the clever girl/Megonko type, see here. The eyes should be big and slanted upward with slightly small irises. Small, tense facial features communicate a mean and determined personality. Keep in mind that making the irises too small will make her look like a villain. By contrast, an eyebrow slanting downward expresses a kind, soft character. Draw the eyebrows slanting upward in the same way as the eyes to express her determined character. Add Atari of the hair, in this case, the front and side is one section and the back is another. A realistic and mature side-parted style with straight hair reflects her straightforward and practical character. Add the details to the Atari, and it's done. Pen ire and finish. Cooler hair tones are more common for this type. Dark green or blue is often used to paint black hair because coloring the hair with black makes it too heavy. A brown tone could also work, but warm tones typically contradict her intelligent, cool character. Front view. Profile view. 3/4 view. A tsundere character, whose feelings and actions often contradict each other, usually has a frowning expression. Delinquent or Yankee characters are often classified as tsundere types. Smart student characters are also tsundere types. Draw her fashion neatly. A school uniform is a good choice. Expressions. Making excuses. Draw this expression with a cross-eyed look that shows she's staring at the person in front of her instead of looking straight ahead. Frowning, sweat, and a red face are characteristic for tsundere expressions. She looks angry but is actually shy and anxious. For the manpu, small focus lines gradating from light to dark are useful for comical scenes. Shock. Draw the eyes wide open, but since the eyes are very large from the beginning, the size of the eyes is almost the same. The pupils and irises become smaller and the sclera becomes larger, giving the impression that the eyes are wide open. Draw the smaller pupil and iris in the middle of the eye so that it doesn't touch the top or bottom. The bristled hair is often used in comical scenes to express fear, fright, or impatience. Sweet smile. This expression is the dare without any tsun of tsundere. The tsun typically refers to the aloof, hostile side of a character, while the dare refers to the love-struck, warm side. Draw a sweet smile that expresses the character's true inner self. She's a very cute and romantic girl on the inside. The eyes are a little bigger than normal to emphasize her cuteness. Chibi style. Note the difference in the contours of the faces. Keep the standard character's neutral expression, with long eyes slanting upward, while adjusting the size and shape of the eyes as shown. The angle of the eyebrows is even sharper. Frowning, a red face, and manpu for sweat can also apply to this character's chibi. The chibi's hairstyle is also neat, but you can increase its volume. Delinquent girl. Yankee? This character type is seen as a delinquent even though she isn't a villain. Atari. Draw the jawline and the neck along the Atari. Draw her eyebrows and eyes slanted upward. Draw big eyes with small pupils to make the eyes look sharper. This will create a cold, icy appearance. Create a flashy hairstyle to make her look like a gang member. Flashiness is an important factor for bluffing during a fight or when glaring at someone. Draw the details according to Atari, and it's done. Make the eyebrows and eyelashes look artificial with makeup such as thick eyeliner to emphasize sharp eyes. Pen eye and finish. Add platinum blonde hair and strong makeup to make her an intimidating and scary character. Front view. Profile view. Yankee fashion is very loose and relaxed. Unbutton the shirt a little. The standing pose is laid back, so draw her leaning or slanted. 3/4 view. Thin eyebrows help create scary eyes. Expressions. Tearing up. Yankees are normally scary, but they can also be emotional and good-natured. Emphasize the facial expressions when they're laughing, crying, or expressing honest feelings so readers can see the difference in character. Creating a big difference between the character's usual scary expressions and their kinder expressions makes her more convincing and complex. Open smile. Draw a bright smile without any hidden ill intentions. Draw the mouth open widely to emphasize her openness. Use a burst of concentrated lines in the background to symbolize the sun and brightness. Brooding anger. This facial expression shows her true nature. Draw the eyes sharp and scary, with her glaring at someone out of the corner of her eye. The eyes aren't bigger than normal, but still sharp. Make the irises small with a small shadow under the eyes to express her annoyance. This expression is eerier and scarier than a normal, harmless stare. Add a blood splash on the background and clench her fist to reflect her explosive anger. Chibi style. As always, start with the proportions of the face. Note how the chibi's jaw shape is different. Add some volume to the hair. Draw the eyes and eyebrows even sharper with makeup and exaggeration. Design it well, checking the balance and making sure the look isn't too sharp. Draw the uniform a little loose by unbuttoning some buttons and loosening the tie. Exaggerate the ponytail and the long, loose strands hanging on either side of her face by bunching them up. Passionate boy. Neiketsu. A typical main character type in shonen manga, this character is a hot-blooded boy who can't ignore injustice. He's courageous, athletic, unsophisticated, and easily influenced. This character type isn't very smart, though he's very determined. Atari. Draw stronger Atari for the jawline than for female characters. Draw the eyes a little smaller than a girl's eyes. Passionate boys look better with big, round eyes. Make the eyebrows thick and well-defined. Draw Atari for hair. Draw spiked hair, that's a key characteristic of shonen manga. There are separations among the front, side, and back parts of the hair flow. The irises are smaller than for girls, but still pretty big for a boy character. He should have pure puppy dog eyes. Draw the details along the Atari and it's done. Again, note that the jawline is sharper than for girl characters. Pen iron and finish. In shonen manga, black hair is sometimes colored with black. However, a dark brown creates a warm tone that aligns with the passionate boy's characteristics. Sharpen the jawbone angle to create a boyish face. Choose an energetic and dynamic pose. Draw the flow and wrinkles of clothes so they follow the body's movement. Expressions. Roar. This is a well-known expression meaning "I'll do it." In shonen manga, a sound effect such as "oh" is sometimes added. Flame flares upward vigorously in the background to express his fiery spirit. His body and his stare align with the direction of the flame. Draw some speed lines inside his open mouth to create visual momentum. Sobbing. This is when an emotional boy cries without being ashamed. Draw the irises slightly bigger, exaggerated by the amount of tears, while the outline of the irises shiver and tears fall out of both sides of the eyes without stopping. Add some red tones under the eyes and nose. Stressed and confused. Passionate boys' expressions are especially exaggerated in manga. For this emotion, draw small irises with wide-open eyes staring aimlessly into the distance. Add swirls inside the eyes to express his confusion, and lots of cold sweat. Choose a background pattern such as kakeyami, swirls, or handwritten words to emphasize his agitation. He's looking within himself to try to understand what's happening, so you can draw the words he's thinking swirling around him. Chibi style. Note the differences between the contours of the two faces. A strong jawline is typically one feature of boy characters, but in chibi style the jawline becomes round, more similar to a girl's. Add some volume to the hair. It makes it more chibi-like to show the hair in bunches. Make the eyes look more boyish by enlarging them vertically compared to girls. Big, round eyes make the character look sensitive and cute. Your chibi can also have a hairstyle with volume that's more similar to the standard characters. Clever boy. Megon-kun. Glasses are a key characteristic of the clever boy type. Characters with glasses can fit various personality types because glasses act as a symbol for many different things. In this case, the Megon-kun type can be seen as an otaku character, a tsundere character, a bullied character, or a smart class president type. Here, I chose a smart character, a typical Megon-kun with a wide forehead and black glasses. The clever boy character is diligent and fair with a strong sense of justice. He has a very strict belief in following the rules. He's often a friend to the main character, and sometimes acts as the brain for the passionate boy. He's smart and mature for his age. Atari. Draw the clever boy's eyes smaller than the passionate boy's, which have a rounder shape. Add sharpness by drawing the eyes slanted upward. This suggests he's a logical, cool character. Draw a slightly long face line and a strong jaw to suggest maturity. Draw Atari for the hair. Choose a neat, side-parted hairstyle, something that would suit an intelligent character. Draw hard lines for the jawline and the neckline to give it a stiff, angular impression. Draw the Atari of glasses after drawing the facial features. Draw the details following the Atari, and the drawing is done. Include some loose strands of uncombed hair or some bedhead to add some more character. Pen iron and finish. Use a blue-toned black for his hair. Adding blue or green undertones and highlights helps prevent your drawing from falling flat, and helps emphasize lights and shadows. Front view. Profile view. There are two ways to draw the eyes with glasses. One is to hide the eyes by clearly drawing the frame. The other is to emphasize the eyes by slightly blurring or softening the frame. Many artists choose the latter since the eyes are such an important factor in drawing expressions in manga. Three-quarter view. Choose a pose that boasts his intelligence. Note how the fingers holding the glasses overlap each other, how much the wrist is bent, and how the clothes wrinkle around his raised shoulders. Expressions. Surprised self-consciousness. The basic ways to convey a surprised expression are raising the eyebrows, opening the eyes wide, and making the pupils small. The character here has been found holding an embarrassing book. In response to being caught, he tries to think of an excuse but fails. Add light sketch lines across the center of his face to emphasize his expression and cold sweat, tousled hair, and red to his ears. To heighten his embarrassment, draw him shrugging his shoulders in a panicky way while he holds the book tightly. Scorn. Here, the clever boy is looking down on others. Create a cold expression without much movement. The sharp lines on the background emphasize the coldness. You can also draw frosted glasses without any eyes to emphasize the coldness. By not drawing his eyes, you can't read his emotion, which creates an icy impression. Reflective. This expression is a character pondering. Draw half-open eyes to show he's lost in thought. Choose a pose with his hands held close to his mouth. Add a soft spotlight to draw the reader's attention to the center of thought. Achieve this by drawing a dimly lit background that lights up the character's eyes and mouth. Chibi style. Note the differences in proportion and shape of the two faces. Emphasize features such as neat side-parted hair, wide forehead, cool eyes, and black-framed glasses. A science boy in a lab coat. Though usually calm, this character is innocently excited by his favorite experiments. A little otaku time? He may have started out with a perfect hairstyle, but the volume of the hair and the hair whirl or cowlick are the hallmarks of this chibi character. Cool boy. This character type is cool and mature rather than cute. He's smart, athletic, and successful at anything he does, and is also popular among the opposite sex. Since he looks perfect, he often has a tsundere attribute. Atari. This character type combines sensitivity and strength. He has a slender body overall, and while the jawline is stronger than a girl's, it's delicate for a male character. Draw Atari for the hair. Draw the hairstyle in separate sections, and smooth it out differently from a Megon-kun type, see here. Draw delicate, narrow eyebrows and wide, narrow eyes. Add heavy eyelids and half-open eyes to create a bored expression, which makes him appear unapproachable. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Draw long bangs covering his eyes a bit to make him look like a handsome boy with a dark mystery. Pen iron and finish. Choose a black with a green tone for his hair. Note that a green with a strong yellow undertone makes the color muddled. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. Choose a boyish stance or pose. Standing somewhere reading a small book in one hand is a good example. Depending on how you draw him, you can make him look either otaku-like or like a cool boy. Note that girl characters typically read books with both hands, while boys are usually drawn holding books in one hand. He's skinny, but take care not to make his shoulders narrow. And avoid drawing the jawline too square, as that won't fit his delicate features. Expressions. Slight smile. For a character whose bangs hang over his eyes, running a hand through his hair is a convenient pose that works for a variety of emotions and attitudes, including cool, naughty, or hiding embarrassment. Draw a smile with wide open eyes and visible teeth. This character type doesn't usually laugh. Create brightness with soft light in the background. Suppressed emotion. The lines beneath the eyes and above the nose should be red, as should the lines of the lower eyelids, to represent tears. The position of the hands and manpu sweat are also important. Use vertical lines in the background to convey a depressed or sad situation. Spacing out. This expression is a slight change from the character's usual neutral expression. Since he's a cool character, his expression doesn't often change, but he still has emotions, and the context often helps readers identify these small changes in expression. The pop background with dots and white edges is also an important element. Chibi style. Note the differences between the contours of the standard characters in Chibi's faces. Revise the hairstyle to give it volume and arrange it in heavier tufts while maintaining its smoothness. Make the eyes larger as well, but leave the heavy eyelids and half eyes unchanged. Make sure to retain the character's features, such as heavy and dull eyes. It's important to keep his bangs hanging over his eyes, but I used fewer tufts to fit the chibi style. Playboy. Kara O. This character type is friendly, bright, and seemingly innocent. He's similar to the passionate boy type, but he's sensible. He's also playful, cheerful, and social, and he likes flashy clothes. He's everybody's friend, and is often the main character's friend, and he's sometimes a playboy, since he understands women and is good at flirting with them. He won't give up, even after being dumped. He appears frivolous and flirty, but may also be sincere or be acting out to hide his embarrassment. Atari. Draw big eyes slanting downward with thick eyebrows to create a kind, friendly, and open expression. Draw Atari for the hair. Choose a hairstyle that suggests an open, cool personality. A blonde shaggy or spiky style, with layers swinging outward and long bangs hanging over the eyes, is typical for this character type. Draw the details according to the Atari, and it's done. Pen iron and finish. Give this character dyed blonde hair. Accessorize with flashy jewelry such as earrings, bracelets, and necklaces. Front view. Profile view. 3/4 view. Add tan skin to suggest he's flirting with girls by the beach or going to a tanning salon. Give him flashy clothes like a patterned shirt. Kara O has a flashy and flirty style overall. Expressions. Broad grin. Draw a funny smile with gentle eyes that's reassuring and makes girls laugh. This character type often shows his teeth and has vivid facial expressions. In some cases, he's seen as cunning due to his frivolous personality. Goofy flirting. Tepero. This is a special expression that's used exclusively on cute girls. This character type is the master of it. Kara O smiles and sticks his tongue out at girls when they made a mistake. He makes girls laugh and gets their attention while teasing or picking on them. Surprise. Draw his eyes smaller with his irises at the bottoms of his eyes since he's looking at someone shorter than him. Add raised eyebrows and an open mouth. The lines on his face express changes in his complexion, like a blush, due to his confusion or discomfort. Chibi style. Change this character as you would for other chibis, but keep the features such as voluminous hair, eyebrows with gentle curves, and big eyes slanting downward. Draw his irises long vertically and rather small with wide sclera, which emphasizes the impression of being friendly and flirty rather than cold. The sides are almost hidden behind the bangs. Don't draw the hair loose or hanging over the eyes, but maintain the basic hairstyle. Delinquent boy. Yankee? This character type is a delinquent. He's often drawn with flashy clothes and a wild hairstyle, which intimidates others. He's frequently villainous, but some delinquent boys have morals and sincere personalities, and some can even be called gung-ho. A delinquent boy may play a leading role in shonen manga, generally either as a friend or an enemy of the main character. Typically, he isn't very smart. Atari. Thin eyebrows and small eyes slanting upward produce ruthlessness and sharpness. In this example, the edges of the eyebrows are shaved. You can also choose not to draw the eyebrows. In contrast with the thick brows and big drooping eyes of a Kara O, this gives the delinquent boy an inaccessible quality. Add Atari for the hair. It's flashy, but in a different way from a Kara O's. The fixed hairstyle, made rigid with hairspray, emphasizes his lack of approachability. Draw the irises smaller and add lines under the eyes to make them look sharper. I've drawn him with a long and skinny face, but for the delinquent boy you can use different face shapes, such as square and threatening. Draw the details according to the Atari, and it's done.
Penire and finish. Create a flashy and intimidating hairstyle. The silhouette of this one is like a lion's mane. I chose red for the color because it evokes fire and blood. Front view. The outfit is flashy, but unlike a Charo outfit, it's also edgy. Animal prints and golden embroidery on black and flashy accessories also fit well. This pose is the Yankee squat that's well known in Japanese manga. It's the typical pose for delinquent students and gangs. Sharp and triangle-shaped eyes with small irises gaze up at you. Profile view. Three-quarter view. Expressions. Intimidation. It's the same look as an animal trying to exert its dominance by bristling its hair up before a fight. Make sure the vein lines are subtle. They'll look odd if they're too prominent. It's similar to an expression of anger, with the addition of a frown and veins in the temples. Be sure to express the tension not only on the face, but also in the entire body by emphasizing the lines of its muscles to show that he's tensing before the fight. Tearfulness. The tears indicate that he's a good person. By drawing the eyebrows spreading outward on the bottom, the gap between the eyebrows and the eyes slanting upward is widened, creating a silly impression. The unguarded expression makes you feel the warmth of the character's personality. Guffaw. This is how he smiles from the bottom of his heart. This is a laugh of a simple idiot who cares about his friends, even though he's scary on the outside and feared. By emphasizing the gap with the normal state, you can accentuate the impression of the character's kindness. Chibi style. Note the differences between the jawlines. In this case, the chibi's jawline is slightly more angular than usual. The chibi's hair has pretty high volume. Simplify the hairstyle to draw only front and sides, omitting the back part. The size of the eyes is exaggerated and enlarged, but the irises remain small. Emphasize the sharpness of the eyes rather than the cuteness of the chibi. Add a simplified old-school uniform, called a tsumeri. Although in reality tsumeri are rarely worn nowadays, they're still sometimes used in manga as a symbol of delinquent students, often with a few alterations to highlight the rebellious personality. The hair looks like this if you show the spikes on the back in the same way as the normal style. It makes him look cuter with softer eyes by drawing the irises bigger. Beautiful boy. Bishinin. The Bishinin character is a boy with a pretty, girly face and a thin, delicate physique. The combination of male and female characteristics gives him an androgynous look. Atari. The outline of his face is feminine and round, and he has the largest eyes of any male character with long eyelashes, though they're narrower than any female characters. His large mouth, thick eyebrows, and wide neck are masculine elements. Draw Atari for the hair. This character sometimes has beautiful, long hair. Draw his hair so it's long only at the back and braided like a beautiful girl's style. It's the kind of hairstyle that an active wanderer in a fantasy story would have. His pupils and irises are large for a male character. He has a small nose, but with a large mouth to make him look like a man. The neck is thicker than a woman's, but thin for a man. Because he's a boy in terms of age, his body shape is similar to a child's. Draw the details along the Atari, and it's done. Pen ire and finish. Paint a delicate, skinny body with a pale complexion. Paint the lips with a more vivid color than for other male characters. Front view. To contrast with the character's skinny body, add a loosely draped cloak and accessorize his outfit with large bangles and a decorative collar. One of the Isekai elements is a slightly mysterious hairstyle where only the back part is long and braided. Another is the red tattoos on the back of his hand and on his arms. Profile view. 3/4 view. Add long eyelashes with a downward slant. Upward slanting eyelashes make a character look feminine. Expressions. Quiet weeping. In this situation, the Bishinin is looking up to prevent his tears from falling, but they end up falling despite his efforts. He's not clenching his teeth, but his mouth is tightly closed to hide his crying. Note how the tears follow the curves of his cheek. Hidden smile. Draw his hand placed on his face, hiding one eye and part of his expression. Add a shadow covering one side and the upper half of the face. Draw the eyes looking upward and add white only to the eye's edges. In addition, add an asymmetrical smile on the distorted mouth to convey a mysterious intention. To accentuate his uneasy beauty, draw the eyelashes and eyes looking upward to make him look feminine. Taken aback. Draw the eyebrows raised with eyes that aren't too small to show it's not a big surprise. The movement lines or manpa next to the chin are irregular, and the strong, concentrated lines radiating from his glance express a quick turn of the head. Chibi style. It's hard to show the difference in style when you draw this chibi. His cuteness is emphasized more than his beauty, even though he's a Bishinin type. His chibi will have a more mysterious beauty, as if he were a Biseinen type, beautiful man. Note the difference in the contours of the two faces. The jawline for this chibi is the same as a girl's since he's androgynous with a small chin and a round face. Simplify the hairstyle and increase its volume. Draw the eyelashes thick and the eyes big. Draw the mouth rather small to maintain his mysterious attitude. A big mouth gives a boyish impression. This is a cute chibi, but the angle of the eyebrows, the size of the eyes, and the rough hairstyle make him look more like a boy. Beautiful girl. Bishoujo. All manga heroines are usually beautiful girls, but the Bishoujo type is extremely beautiful. Give her an unworldly beauty, like an elf or an angel. Atari. Although she's very beautiful, the contour of her face is exactly the same as a normal girl's. In order to express cuteness and fragility, draw her eyes slanting downwards slightly with heavy eyelids. Make the space between eyes a little wider than usual. Note that if you make the space very big, you'll make her look even more otherworldly. Draw Atari for the hair. Add wavy long hair that's parted in the front. Decide on the flow of hair, thinking of the structure as ribbons and tubes at the Atari stage. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Create a neat hair flow by drawing a few thin lines along the Atari. The scare can't be seen on the top or bottom of the eyes because the irises are big and the eyelids are heavy. The smaller the scara, the more kind and beautiful the character will look. Note that all black eyes make a character looking human. Pen ire and finish. Create a Bishoujo girl with rich, long blonde hair, gentle, big eyes, and a wide forehead. Long hair looks messy if you don't draw its flow neatly. Drawing the Atari as if the hair is ribbons floating down her head can help. Front view. Profile view. Make the eyelashes thin and curving upwards so the eyes look even bigger. Three-quarter view. Expressions. Wonder or disbelief. Draw the eyes a little smaller, though they'll look almost the same. The upper part of the iris isn't at all covered by the eyelid, and part of the sclera is visible. This is only a light surprise, as the pop concentration effect shows. The eyes would be smaller if the character were seriously shocked. The lines of the hair express a shining blonde. Sorrow or grief. Since this is an expression of sadness, the eyes and face are both facing downward. Even the background effect is drawn on the bottom of the pane. While eyelashes normally curl upward, here they're slanted downward because the eyelids are half closed and the eyes are looking down. The white line shows the flow of eyelashes. In this case, it's drawn clearly because the color of the eyelashes is light. Betrayal. This expression represents a situation where the character is both disappointed and angry. Since she's looking down, the sclera isn't visible above and below the irises, which should be drawn large. This expression shows that she's almost crying, suggesting her sadness is stronger than her anger. The flash in the background shows her strong emotions. Chibi style. Change the hairstyle so it's simpler, with fewer sections. Note that the hair sections move in ribbon shapes along each line drawn in the Atari. Note the difference in the shape and proportion of the two faces. Add Atari for the hair. The big eyes slanting downward are emphasized more for the chibi. Magical girl. Mahou Shoujo. A magical girl uses magic or special magical powers to fight evil. She's a heroine, especially in shoujo manga. Atari. Draw the jawline and the neck along the bottom of the Atari. Draw the ears small and the eyes big, as she's a cute girl. Add gently curved eyebrows. Note that eyebrows slanting upward make her look mean. Draw her with big eyes and irises because she's a character similar to a heroine in shoujo manga. The sclera are small, which make her look more graceful and ladylike. Add Atari for the hair. Fluffy hair is a good choice for cute magical girls. Big eyes with upward slanted eyebrows make the character look mean. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Add some cowlicks as accents. Penire and finish. Add an uchimaki fluffy hair shape, light yellow and pink tones, swan wings for purity, and large fluffy ribbons. The image is like a cute, sweet little cake. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. Consider the front, side, and back sections of the hair when you draw a profile or three-quarter pose. Draw the character dancing with light steps to match her personality and the setting of the character. Expressions. Fearful surprise. Draw the eyes wide open. In comparison to the normal eye size, the size of the surprised eyes is almost the same. The pupils become smaller, and the scleras become larger, giving the impression that the eyes are wide open. Draw the irises in the middle of the scleras so they don't touch the top or bottom eyelids. Use the manpu, a burst of parallel lines, and a pale complexion to add a nuance of fear or fright to this expression. Big laugh. When expressing emotions, it's important to not only use facial expressions. Use body language, like tilting the face or posing, to further accentuate emotions. The lines in the background gathering in the center, tenshuchu, make the atmosphere soft, light, and warm. Manpu represents the movement of the body shaking and laughing. Wariness. Use this expression when a character is trying to find another person's true intentions, which is visually expressed by drawing her sizing up the other person. Frowning is also a sign of distrust, as is putting a hand on the chin, a pose often used when thinking. The swirling kakiyami also signifies that she's deep in thought. Chibi style. Simplify the costume by adjusting its proportions and details to fit the chibi's scale. Note the difference in the contour of the chibi's face. The shape of the jawbone is underdeveloped, like that of a baby. In this chibi style, the hair volume increases, so make the hair even fluffier. Increasing the iris size makes the eyes appear bigger, even though they're actually the same size. Make the hairline simpler than the standard characters. To make her look cuter, draw the eyebrows higher, similar to a baby's. Some artists draw the eyes differently for chibis. Magical girl on the dark side. Yamioki. This character type is a magical girl who's turned evil. There are some Yamioki types that are drawn exactly the same as the good magical girl, see here, except for the eyes. In this case, I changed her appearance. Since this character is the same as a magical girl, they have the same face shape. But because this is the evil version, change the cute eyes to sharp eyes that slant upward. Draw the eye lines and lashes to convey thick makeup. Think of this character as the black swan as opposed to the white swan. Since she's a villain, draw the irises slightly smaller. Raise the eyebrow tails to make her look mean. Make the eyebrows thin. The thinner you draw the eyebrows, the more artificial and mean the character will look. Even with the same smile, raising the corners of the mouth a little, combined with the sharp eyes, will create a nasty smirk. Add a rich lipstick color. Pink doesn't suit a villain. Make it obvious that she's wearing heavy makeup overall. Add Atari for the hair. Draw a rough hairstyle with the hair section separating and spreading outward, in contrast to the original round, fluffy Uchimaki hairstyle. The rough hairstyle represents the evil side, while the fluffy hairstyle signifies the good side. The other notable features are the same. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Pen ire and finish. The finished head has a sharp silhouette that extends outward. There are some dark side types who have the same hairstyle as a good magical girl, but this time I chose to change everything. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. It's common to use a lot of black to complete the character in a sharp style. Use black as an accent to the crimson. A heavy use of black is too much even for a villain in shoujo manga style. Good characters are pure, white, and clean, while evil ones are dark and sexy. Evil characters also have more exposed skin. An outfit with ties or string like a corset or a ribbon entwined around the legs symbolizes that the once good heart is now bound to evil. This also applies to the design of her accessories. Expressions. Amazement. Draw a stunned facial expression where the irises don't touch any of the outer edges of the eyelids and the mouth is half open. By not drawing anything in the eyes, this expression depicts someone who has lost their focus or been stunned. Surprise is a vulnerable expression because the character is caught off guard. However, making the mouth wide open in an O shape could make her look too defenseless and stupid for a Yamioki character, so be sure not to make the mouth too wide. Smirk. Only draw the corner of the mouth up. This smirk is very different from an innocent laugh. The angle of the face and the eyes looking down on the other person shows the character's arrogance. Anger. A classic expression of anger is to gaze upward from a lowered face. Anger is drawn with strongly scowled eyebrows, eyes slanted upward, teeth biting the lower lip, and lines around the eyes. It's an expression showing dark anger swirling in the character's heart. The background is done by tapping gauze with ink on. Note that creating a large emotional range will make her seem more like a normal person, and the fear and creepiness of the Yamioki character will be lost. Chibi style. Note the differences in the contour of the jawline and the proportions of the faces. It's common to enlarge the eyes, but keep them sharp and slanted upward. Make sure not to draw them round and cute. The hairline and the position of the eyebrows move upward as the head becomes bigger. Draw the eyes even sharper by enlarging them even more. Draw her with no expression as she's a character who doesn't get emotional. Magical girl's male enemy. This character type is broad. There are various versions, but typically they're beautiful bishinin or biseinin boys or men. Here's a typical example of a beautiful young man with long hair. The face is longer than the boy and the jawline is sharp. The sharp eyes are slanting upward to make him look like a villain. Even with the same sharp eyes, you'll see the difference when compared to the cool boy type, see here. Rather, they're closer to the eyes of a delinquent boy here. Cool boy type eye. Long, but not slanted upward. Since the face is longer, the nose is also naturally longer. Although he's a man, his nose bridge is fine and feminine because he's beautiful. The jawline is also rather soft for a man. The difference is clear when compared to the male warrior type, see here. Of course, it's thicker than a woman's. Draw the mouth big and masculine. Add Atari of the hair. The side hair is hidden behind the long bangs parted in the middle. The space between the eyebrows is small. A wide space would suggest an immature or cute character. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. One eyelash on the lower eyelid and thick eyeliner are typical villain features. They give a mean impression with sharp eyes. Penire and finish. Since it's the world of magical girls, use a light purple color for the hair, similar to anime style. The colors of the symbol on his forehead, chest, and the cards in his hands are similar. Use red as an accent color, and keep the main color as purple blue. The motif is a magician who dazzles people. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. As a beautiful sign-in, the line from the cheekbones to the jaw is straighter than women and even boys. Since he's a slender, feminine character, don't draw many abdominal muscles. The difference is more obvious when comparing to the male warrior type. Expressions. Cunning smile. This is a sinister grin or smirk. Body language, facial expression, and background effects are used to achieve this expression. For example, his slanted mouth, the direction of his gaze and side eye, the downward angle of his face, and the background noise gradation suggest foul play or ill intent. Threatening laugh. This is a typical bad guy laugh. He laughs loudly and crazily. The low point of view makes the person look big and powerful. The concentrated lines in the background, drawn upward and in the same direction as the perspective, express powerful and strong movement. Disheveled hair also shows movement. Disdainful wrath. Anger is commonly expressed with frowning eyebrows, lines under the eyes, and a wide open mouth. He's scolding somebody, staring at them with a strong side eye, meaning his head is facing a different direction than at what or whom he's looking. Not facing the other person conveys a negative feeling such as scorn or disdain. The background flash symbolizes emotional strength. Chibi style. Add features such as voluminous bangs, long straight hair, and slightly triangular, sharp eyes with small pupils. Note the difference in the proportions and contour of the face. In order to give the impression that he's different from ordinary humans, change the light reflection in the iris so it flows from the left and right to the center. There's also a method to produce an effect by slightly shifting it from the basic style like this. Simplify the hairstyle by leaving the original shape. Draw the irises pretty big, but with white space around them except at the top. Magical girl's female enemy. This character type is very broad. For example, there are some that are the same age as magical girls, neat and innocent ones, cute ones, or sexy, voluptuous ones. For this example, I chose an adult villain type who's the opposite of the heroine. Draw her eyes big with thick eyelids, half-open eyes, and long eyelashes. Make her look like she's wearing makeup to give her a sexy look. Draw the eyes sharp to produce a cold, villainous look. Draw the jawline and the neck. For an adult, the jawbone is longer than for a magical girl. Add Atari for the hair. Choose a hairstyle that symbolizes the character's core. For example, a curved hairstyle that resembles a scorpion's stinger symbolizes her villainous character. In this case, one side of the face is hidden under thick bangs. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Emphasize her sexiness with full lips. Pen iron and finish. There are artists who use blue or green colored skin, but I drew inspiration from albinism and scorpions to create a character with red eyes, white skin, and white hair. As with the male version, remove the big part of the light in the eyes and draw lines to show the light coming from both sides. Front view. Profile view. When designing clothes, I recommend deciding what kind of items and motifs you will use as a starting point before expanding your idea. Three-quarter view. The end of her braid and her dangling earrings are scorpion stingers. Expressions. Boisterous laugh. A female villain's laugh is typically a hysterical laugh, like ho ho ho. It's a bit unflattering to draw women with a low angle perspective, emphasizing their nostrils and jaw. However, this angle suits these situations best. Beta flash with a strong background shows the intensity of the laughter. The center is offset from the center of the frame, adding dynamic movement to the screen. Restrained rage. This expression is for calm anger, as if she's disciplining her subordinates. The strong frown indicates anger, and the speed line for the look and background indicate the direction of her emotion. In this case, the character isn't moving. Happiness or love. A comical expression that's always in a magical girl story. It's a classic expression to be crazy for cute boys such as fellow villains, or a magical girl's boyfriend. Use troubled eyebrows in situations like this. The maiden-like hand position also expresses her emotions. If you want, draw a heart or star in her eyes and make them shiny. Chibi style. Note the differences between the contours and proportions of the two faces. The standard character's face is a little long, but it's not necessary to reflect that in the chibi style. Add a good amount of volume to the hair. Change her in a cute way even though she's a villainess. Keep her breast size even though she's a chibi. The face-to-body ratio should be 1 minute and 1.5 seconds, 2.5 heads. Exaggerate her sharp eyes. Normal light in the eyes makes her look human and cute. Male vampire. The vampire character is so popular that it can appear in many guises. Here I introduce the classic Count Dracula type, a beautiful middle-aged man who is cold-blooded, arrogant, slender, and aristocratic. He has pointed ears and canines. Atari. As a middle-aged man, the line of the jaw is considerably lower and the face is longer. Make his face a little longer and thinner than the average middle-aged man. Add Atari for the hair. Raise the hairline and brush the hair back to expose the forehead, which gives a calm and mature impression, and is also a suitable hairstyle for an older man. To create a cold, non-human attitude, add light-colored hair, long eyelashes, sharp eyes, and a thin, high nose lined with delicate, narrow contours. The loose tendrils on the front and side of the face give the vampire a sexy look. Draw the details according to the Atari, and it's done. Show the vampire's age with wrinkles beside his eyes and mouth. If you find it difficult to draw an older man, it might be easier to draw a younger face first. Then add little lines to each feature: nose, mouth, eyes, and receding hairline. Pen iron and finish. Paint the vampire with an unhealthy, waxy whiteness. Add red to the eyes, mouth, and earrings. Count Dracula's lips are said to be red. Front view. Add some shading to the corners of the eyes and his cheeks. This will make his eyes and cheeks look sunken to emphasize his thinness. It may be hard to tell as the pupils are small, but they're oval-shaped. Profile view. Three-quarter view. Note that dress shirts have different collars for ascot ties and bow ties. The suit looks like a luxury item when it fits snugly on the body. If you draw wrinkles in strange places, it will make the suit look like it doesn't fit, which makes it look cheap. Expressions: contempt or distrust. Since the vampire is a tanbai, aestheticism, character, he doesn't value people he doesn't find beautiful, even if they're his family. Moreover, he sees humans as less than garbage and doesn't recognize the meaning of their existence. The eyes are the key feature in expressing contempt or distrust. The tonal areas in the background, which flow toward the center of the drawing from above and below, make the eyes shine brightly. Confused and surprised. Although it depends on the artist's style, it's not rare for a noble and beautiful character to have a comical touch in manga. Carefully consider the time and place of this expression, because it could destroy the character's image. Deep in thought. Please note the difference between the confused and surprised expression and the thinking expression, even though the same pose is used. It's a typical thinking pose. The character is looking forward with half-open eyes and the background is turning bright, with the gradated pattern symbolizing the organization of his thoughts. Chibi style. It's hard to make a chibi with a sunken face and sharp edges. Express this character's features with a wide forehead, sunken cheeks, and half-open, sunken eyes. Note the difference in the contours of the faces. The middle-aged man chibi style has a slightly longer face than a boy chibi character. Don't increase the hair volume much, but do exaggerate the loose hair. Big eyes and a small nose are the typical features, but they're not exaggerated as much for teens. Omit the nose if you like. However, make sure not to draw him too cute so he doesn't look like the original character. Young male vampires. Remove the nose from the youth version. Noses get bigger as you age, so they're important for the middle-aged version. Female vampire. This is also a classic vampire type, among many vampire possibilities. A doll-like face that's basically expressionless makes her look inhuman. Add light pigmented hair, transparent white skin, and a face with delicate, thin contours. Although long canine teeth are characteristic of vampires, they're often not noticeable on beautiful female vampires. Many vampire characters have canines that only show when they suck blood. Atari. Draw the same face as for a beautiful girl, but skinnier, with a slightly thinner jaw. Add beautiful eyebrows with curved tails, heavy eyelids, and half-open eyes to make her look cold and emotionless. Draw the Atari for hair, including the front, back, and sides. Bangs create a more youthful look. Emphasize her inhuman beauty with sunken eyes, a stronger contrast of light and shadow, and dark eyeliner. Make the mouth and nose small, like a doll's. Draw the details according to the Atari, and it's done. Penire and finish. Add blonde hair that's almost white with light-colored eyebrows and eyelashes to create a wax-like, sun-deprived look. Front view. Use a waxy white or pale rosy color for the skin. Apply a slightly darker color to the eyelids to make the eyelashes stand out. Profile view. Add purple to the lips to match the gothic clothing style. It's typical to combine the vampire and gothic types, as seen with gothic Lolita. Make sure to draw each ruffle carefully. When drawing this costume, show the contrast between the gathered and full areas. 3/4 view. Since the hair and skin are pale, use a rich red for the eyes and lips, and a strong color scheme for the clothes. Red and black are a good palette for the clothing and accessories. Expressions. Sardonic smile. Although the corners of her mouth are slightly raised, they're hidden behind her hand. The crescent-shaped lips give a ridiculing impression. The fact that the smile isn't reflected in her eyes confirms her true heart. A lace background usually expresses cuteness and softness, but in this case it creates an eerie beauty. Foreboding. Give her a furrowed brow, a slightly frowning mouth, and glaring eyes with wrinkles around them to express discomfort. You can also use glaring to the side or a side eye here. Angry glower. This background, a lightning flash, is usually used in serious situations, such as tension, determination, and hostility. But depending on the character, it can be used in comical situations too, like this example. Add some manpa to make the atmosphere more comical, such as blue veins and circles on the forehead and lines under the eyes. These emphasize the gap from her normal cold-blooded attitude. Chibi style. Note the differences in the contours of the faces. Exaggerate the moody look. To make her look like a porcelain doll, I try not to exaggerate the hair too much. Add a small nose and mouth and big eyes to follow the typical chibi style. Keep the heavy eyelids and the half-open eyes to maintain the character's look. Samurai. Ronin. A Ronin is a samurai who has no feudal clan or lord to serve. He lives in the town, not in the samurai residence. He's often looking for a master to serve, or teaching swordsmanship in the dojo. This character is often portrayed as a dojo master who trains the main character. For this book, I made him an old man to broaden the age range of the characters and faces. Atari. Draw an angular and strongly developed jaw. The contour of the jaw isn't that different from an older or adult character, but since he's strong, the jaw is almost square-shaped. It may be easier to first draw the face young, then work in lines to age the features as shown. Draw thick eyebrows and a large nose and ears to give a stern, warrior look. The hairline is set far back because we'll turn him into an old man eventually. Add Atari for the hair. The relationship of the front, side, and the back sections of the hair is basically the same as a girl's ponytail. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Draw details such as sagged parts or wrinkles for an old man. Add a receding hairline and lengthen the eyebrows and sideburns to make him look older. Draw the ponytail loosely to match the Ronin style. Drawing wrinkles on the forehead is optional. Leave the general shape of the lower jaw while slackening the cheeks and making the contour lines of the jaw slightly concave. The sides of the face should look like little deflated balloons. Penire and finish. Front view. Draw some dark shadows around the eyes to make them look sunken. 3/4 view. Profile view. Make the skin look loose by drawing the bone bumps clearly, with the skin hanging from them. This will make him look older. When drawing a kimono, keep in mind that the shape of the sleeves is not the same as the arms within them. The sleeves are much larger. I recommend checking reference images online, as it's hard to draw the kimono folds for those who don't normally wear them. Expressions. Heightened awareness. Use this expression when the character is staring at one point and noticing something, with either one eye open or both eyes closed while concentrating. The shadows on the face show that he is facing down slightly, which is often used without actually changing the position of the light source. The strong flash in the background, aligned with the eyes, and the white line that penetrates it are symbols that show the character's sharp eyes and strong concentration. Mortification. Here the character coughs to hide his embarrassment. The exaggerated manpu, the lines showing the redness of the face, and simple eyes create a comical look. Losing composure isn't normal samurai behavior, so I portrayed this expression as a heartwarming scene. Roaring laughter. This is a masculine laugh, showing the inside of his mouth. Posing the character with his head tilted backward would be good also. Add wrinkles to the edges of the eyes or around the mouth to emphasize the age of his face. Chibi style. It might be hard to make a chibi out of an adult man, especially a middle-aged man. Change him to make him look like a chibi, while leaving his essential features. Note the differences in the contours of the faces. For the chibis, the blue line is a chibi boy's. An old chibi has a bonier jaw. His facial features are goggling eyes, a bony face line, sunken cheeks, rough eyebrows and sideburns, a receding hairline, and deeply carved wrinkles. Simplify the kimono sleeves for the chibi. Adding wrinkles is an important element. Make sure to add them where they're supposed to be, such as around the edges of the eyes and above the mouth. Japanese princess. There are different costumes for Japanese-style princesses, depending on the time period and their status. In this case, I used the image of a samurai princess from the Edo period as an example. Decorate her tiara with plum flowers or your favorite flower, such as cherry blossoms or daisies. Atari. Draw the jawline and neck along the atari. Draw thick eyebrows. Make her face round and her jaw small, as she's a young girl. Add atari for the hair. There are various ways of tying hair, but this way is common for samurai daughters. Even with such a complicated hairstyle, you can divide it into front, side, and back parts as you draw it. Add a hair ornament of plum flowers. A real one has smaller flowers that overlap, but you can simplify the ornament so it's easier to draw. Draw the whole atari, and then draw each individual flower. Draw the details according to the atari, and it's done. Penire and finish. Front view. Make sure to draw the collar correctly when you draw traditional Japanese clothes. The left side of the collar should overlap the right side. This applies to both men's and women's collars. If you reverse it, it signifies a dead person. This non-functional dress with long sleeves is common for young unmarried women. Profile view. Tie the back hair up to make a big bun. 3/4 view. Expressions. Demure giggle. Since this character is a princess, her laughter is graceful and elegant, and she discreetly hides her mouth. The eyebrow's shape is the same for a puzzled expression, and represents negative emotions such as confusion and sadness. In this case, a troubled expression fits this situation because she's unexpectedly smiling or laughing while confused. Puzzled. In this example, a troubled expression is used in an actual troubling situation. The loop on the left eyebrow is a manpa-like symbol that represents comical confusion. Draw the irises small. The comedic effect will be lessened if you draw them as you would a normal size. Flabbergasted. This is the troubled expression being used for a happy surprise. In this case, bow-shaped eyebrows work, but use a troubled type to add a nuance that she's unbelievably happy. Draw the eyebrows raised and the eyes wide open, which is standard for a surprised expression. The addition of large irises and the mouth shape express positive emotions. The tears in the eyes show that she's moved. The background shows a soft atmosphere with a gentle light coming from her. Chibi style. Note the differences in the contours of the faces. Because the original Japanese hairstyle is large, I didn't make her hair more voluminous. Make the chic bigger instead. Chic, single locks of hair that hang along either side of the bun. The princess's dress is long and the bottom hem is draped. Male warrior. This character type has a large, thick, muscular, and well-trained body shape. Atari. Shape the jawline between a square and an oval to make him look young and cool. The jaw should be solid and square. The neck is also thicker than that of ordinary men. Add fine, sharp eyes and thick, masculine eyebrows. Draw the ear, nose, and mouth large to make him look masculine. Draw a thick nose bridge and a wide nose by drawing lines on the end of the nose and his nostrils. Add the hair atari. Draw short, slightly wavy, hard hair. It's not flowing hair as in shoujo manga, but it becomes a natural hairstyle by consciously drawing the flow from the side and the back. Draw the details and it's done. Add a headband after drawing the hair. Sometimes, as in this case, it's better to add it after drawing the hair atari, depending on the hairstyle. Penire and finish. Front view. Finish the hair with a blue-toned color that's close to black. Depending on how you color the shadows cast by the nose, its thick bridge will stand out. Since this character is a strong, adult man, make his bone structure prominent, with a thick neck showing visible lines to represent its muscles and tendons. Profile view. 3/4 view. The nose for this character, when shown in profile and 3/4 views, is more similar to a nose in real life because of the wide bridge. Expressions. Misery. The warrior here is trying to hold back his tears for fear of being seen as weak or not manly. Convey this expression with furrowed eyebrows, tears pooling in his eyes, and wrinkles around his mouth, with him biting his lower lip. Distress. Here he's enduring a dangerous situation, like losing on the battlefield or being cornered. Clenched teeth is a key attribute of this expression. The shadow covers the upper part of the face, signifying a pale complexion. Indicate that he's physically worn out with vertical lines on the lips. Draw the irises touching the upper eyelids with him staring straight ahead to convey his unbreakable, fiery spirit. Baffled dejection. This expression is for light despair in a comical scene, such as being dumped or having precious food taken away. Slightly lower the corners of the mouth to show a pitiful look. Add furrowed eyebrows and manpa tears to make it more comical. The scene becomes funnier when very masculine characters act out of character or are unusually expressive. Add any pop pattern, such as stars, hearts, or triangles, in the background. His half-extended hand also shows his despair. Chibi style. Don't draw the chibi style for this character with the same look as a teen character chibi. Leave the square jawline, even with a round face. Increase the volume of hair, enlarge the eyes, and exaggerate the eyebrows in a cute way. To apply the chibi style, leave the line for the nose bridge but omit the nostrils, since his thick nose bridge is a key physical characteristic. Exaggerate the size of the hairband to make it look cute. Female warrior. This character archetype has many versions, including muscular Amazons and slender, beautiful girls. In this case, a general female warrior type is one with a strong and dependable personality. Atari. Since she's an adult, draw the face a little longer than a teen's and with a strong jawline. But make sure not to draw the chin line too strong, as it'll make her look like a man. Add sharp eyes and thick eyebrows to create a strong and unyielding image. These same features are often seen on a villain type. Add slightly thick lips to express her maturity, sexiness, and passion. Draw the jawline and the neck according to the Atari. Add Atari for the hair. Keep the forehead visible to express maturity and gracefulness. It's an attribute of reliable characters. Draw the irises slightly smaller to express her strong will. Big irises suggest a softer, sensitive character. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Make sure to draw the details of the headgear after drawing the Atari to check the position and balance. Penire and finish. Make her body more muscular than a typical girl's, but still feminine. Front view. Profile view. Three-quarter view. I drew her body to look stronger than a typical woman, but not overly muscular. Even though she is a warrior, I still wanted her to look feminine. Create a costume of your choice. Design it by considering the following. What kind of material is it made of? How is it worn? How and where does it protect her? Where can you attach weapons? And so on. It doesn't really matter whether the costume would function in reality, but thinking about it adds depth and persuasiveness to the design. Expressions. Audacious courage. This shows a situation where the character is taking on a tough task. A female warrior is a trustworthy character who takes good care of people and doesn't let her people down. Her strong bicep says, "Leave it to me." Uncertainty. Use this confused expression when the character is faced with something unexpected yet positive, such as gifts or thanks. The background and the redness on her face show that something warm is spreading in her heart. Determined fury. A downward-facing head and messy hair indicate an explosive emotional state. Create frowning eyebrows and add lines to her forehead. The forehead lines indicate that strong force is being applied to the area between the eyebrows, caused by strongly furrowing them. Add lines under the eyes and wrinkles on the nose. Raise the corners of the mouth, clench the teeth and add ridges above the mouth to show muscle tension. Make sure the small irises touch the upper outline of the eyes. The white dots in the irises outlines represent the position of the light source to the left, and right. All these facial features express explosive anger. The background is a flaming Kakeyami flash that burns. It depicts her inner state, burning violently and intensely. Chibi style. Draw the chibi with a cute, round face with the same rounded shape as a teen character. Note the differences in the contours of the faces. In this case, the chibi's is the same as a teen's. Spread the hair wider on the bottom to add volume and waves. Omit some parts of the costume to suit the chibi character's short arms and legs. Give her a curled tendril on her forehead. Exaggerate the features as for a typical chibi, with a wide forehead, enlarged eyes and irises, and a small nose. Animal girl. Kemonamimi. Kemonamimi are cute creatures. There are many different types, because they're basically just a typical character with the ears of a beast, such as a cat, fox, or wolf. This example is a cute girl with cat ears. Atari. Draw the face contour of an ordinary pretty girl with soft, curved eyebrows and big eyes. Draw the ears during the Atari stage because their position will affect the balance of the face. It's important to balance the whole face, even when drawing an animal type. Add Atari for the hair. Consider the position of the animal ears. They sit on the head as if the character is wearing a headband, and extend from behind the hair on the sides of the head. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. The ear shape will change depending on the type of animal. Use the example here as the basis for your favorite animal ears and adjust as needed. Don't forget to draw the hair and the ears. There are different methods for adding the ear hair, such as blending it with the character's hair to make the separation between them less noticeable, or drawing the ear and head hair separately. Pen eye and finish. Choose a color scheme based on a real-life reference, like a Siamese cat. The tone of the character's hair and the hair in her animal ears is the same. Front view. Profile view. In the profile view, the ears emerge from the side instead of the top of the head. Draw them behind the side hair. Three-quarter view. Draw the separation among the front, side, and back hair clearly, drawing the direction of the growth for each differently. Add accessories such as red ribbon or a bell. Add red shoes to match. Expressions. Angry pout. This is a disapproving expression because the character isn't convinced of something. Pouting is a typical comical expression. The tightly held hands also give a childish and cute impression. Slight nuances in the eyebrow shape will subtly change the expression from angry to puzzled. Delighted laughter. This is an innocent, pure smile. The mouth shape gives the impression of shining teeth. It's a smile like hee hee hee, instead of laughing aloud like ha ha ha. In this case, the cat-like pose is intended to hide embarrassment. The soft and fluffy background creates a sense of happiness. Warning grin. Her smirk has a slightly nasty tinge that, when combined with half-open eyes, creates the suggestion that she's plotting something. The position of her hand, as if she's going to scratch something, is adapted from the classic cat pose. Emphasize the implication of a scheme by adding a dull, haze-like brightness to the background and a low light to cast an eerie shadow on the face. Chibi style. Draw the bell huge on the collar to match the big ears and exaggerated fur. To heighten the Siamese cat look, add some dark brown gloves and boots. Draw the jaw smaller, as she's a cute type in typical chibi style. If you want, make her hair fluffier to increase cuteness. Draw the ears big with fur bunched up within them. Below is an example of a girl with fox ears. Try drawing different combinations. The ears look different depending on the animal you choose. Salaryman. There are different types of salarymen. Salaried white-collar workers who are devoted to the company that employs them. But here I introduce an ordinary salaryman character that often appears in manga. He's usually in his late 20s to early 30s. Atari. Make the proportions and outline of the face and jawline for an average adult man. The jawbone is more developed and angular than a teenager's, but it shouldn't be too strong because he's not a manual laborer. Though the face isn't square, the chin should be flat. The hairstyle is parted perfectly to a ratio of 7:3. Unlike students, who have a characteristic hairstyle of unruly bedhead, salaryman's is combed nicely. Make the eyes, nose, and mouth average and plain. Eyeglasses are commonly used as props. Draw the details according to the Atari and it's done. Penire and finish. The cheekbones and the jawline are for an adult man. His body shape is rather skinny. He looks like he'll lose any fight. Add a small colic or a few unruly strands of hair to give some visual interest. Front view. Be creative with the props. Coffee and a briefcase are signs of a modern businessman. Profile view. When you draw a suit, draw it to fit the body beautifully. The suit will look cheap if you draw it ill-fitting, particularly in the shoulders. 3/4 view. Make the head-to-body ratio 1 to 6.5. Expressions. After-hours cheer. The salaryman toasting with a colleague at a bar at the end of a hard day. His hair is messy because he's already finished work. The unbuttoned shirt and the loosened tie also provide context. The pop pattern in the background is the expression of light. His smile is shining. Apologetic. A salaryman always comes with an apology. It's typical for Japanese salarymen to bow down and apologize for their mistakes to their bosses, customers, and business partners. As he bows down, one of his straightened hairs falls on his forehead. The concentrated lines in the background are classic and highly versatile. They can be used to emphasize a situation, particularly in action scenes. Unrestrained ire. His anger makes him so agitated that his hair gets messy. Place lines under his sharp eyes, add redness to the face, and make the irises smaller. He's glaring at the person he's angry with. He's pointing his finger at the person and roaring loudly while spitting. Vertical lines indicate that pressure is exerted on the subject of his anger from above. You can also draw the flow in the opposite direction, from bottom to top, with the image of anger rising. Chibi style. Note how the contours of the face are different. Draw a squarish jawline for the chibi. Draw the hair with plenty of volume. It's a cute chibi character, but draw him with a plain expression. Exaggerate his unruly hair and it's done. Office lady. This is a female office worker who is generally young. Apply characteristics based on her occupation. She may be quiet or loud, plain or beautiful. The oval-shaped face line is standard for an adult woman in manga. Add Atari for the hair. Draw straight hair parted on the side. There are some office lady character types who wear heavy makeup and dress up in flashy outfits after work. Make her eyebrows thin and neat. She wears simple makeup even when she's a plain character. Draw the details according to the Atari, and it's done. Penire and finish. Finish with a modest and plain impression overall. Her style is neat even though it's not flashy. Her hairstyle is also neat. Front view. Profile view. 3/4 view. A typical outfit for an office lady is a uniform, a nameplate, tights, and a pair of high heels. Common props are documents, copy papers, teapots, or lunchboxes. Expressions. Fake smile. This is a smile with no compassion toward the customer. Add mechanically raised corners of the mouth. The eyebrows are drawn together. There are no wrinkles, but the eyebrow shape is closer to angry than a smile. It's an annoyed smile. The curve of the eyelids express discomfort. You could add a popping vein on the forehead to show that she's annoyed. Sulking. Here she's being scolded by her boss. She can't look directly at him or her because of her guilt, so she looks down with her eyes to the side. She knows it was her fault, but she can't face it. The pouting expression and the mouth shape show her childish personality. The swirling manpa also represents her troubles. Concealed laughter. For office ladies, gossiping is essential. She's happily gossiping about a cute coworker with her colleagues. Hiding her mouth conveys whispering. The handwritten irregular concentrated lines create a warm, comical atmosphere. Chibi style. There's almost no difference between an adult woman and a teen in chibi style. The maturity is expressed through clothes, hairstyle, makeup, and other details. Note the difference in the proportions and contours of the face. In chibi style, the face shape for a child is the same as a teen. Draw the eyes slightly smaller compared to a teen. A smaller eye size gives her a plain look. Bigger eyes make her look cuter. Add a prop for the office lady, like a lunch tote. About the author. Nao Yazawa is a Japanese manga artist residing in Tokyo, Japan. She is most well known for her manga series Wedding Peach, which was made into an anime series of the same name. Both the manga and anime series were translated into several languages. Since 2008, she has been teaching manga workshops in English, internationally in Germany, Denmark, Austria, Canada, and the United States. She teaches in-person workshops at Nakano Manga School in Nakano-ku, Tokyo, where she maintains the studio where she hosts her online classes. She is also the author of the instructional guide Manga Drawing Deluxe.